your hands together for John Elway. We are so excited.
Mindy, I liked your other outfit better.
Yeah, it was cheaper. I'll tell you that. Please wear that every day, dear.
Yes, dear. I'm just gonna move back so you guys can see over there.
There you go. All right. Well, hey.
It's the final.
Thank you.
Final.
Thank you. That's a private joke, you guys, but you'll catch it later at the bar, maybe. But because it never ends, okay? But no, we are very excited. Thank you for doing this, John.
My pleasure.
We are dear friends, and again, asking John to kind of break away from your regular life to come out and do this stuff. I know you don't do a lot of these, and so I appreciate it. And it means a lot.
We were just in Spain with John. We were all we were on a little a trip, and we do have a picture, I think, of where we came from. We had a little costume party. Do we have that photo? This was.
There we are. This is how John likes to relax. Okay.
Oh boy.
I told John you will never be recognized wearing that outfit, so you can wear that.
Exactly. Yeah, we got out there and we were doing a little bird hunting, and I said goodbye to you guys in Spain, and went on my way. Actually, I got my gun stuck in Spain, so they left me. Yep. And I was sitting there. I got home yesterday at whatever 3 o'clock.
We had to do the vibe, even if you weren't going to be here.
Exactly, so. Sweating it out. But no, again, very, very excited. It's been I don't know where you start, John, but if you just look back on what this whole thing is about, and then you fast forward to why you're here, it's about mindset. It's about winning. It's about what is the difference in the people that make it and the people that don't. We had, I think Barry said, we had 160,000 mortgage loan officers, and now we're down to 90-something and going down. Why? Why did people quit?
Well, it's the easy way out.
Yeah.
Right? I think a lot of times people take the easy. My dad always said when I was younger, and he was my hero. Unfortunately, he lost him about 20 years ago, but he was a guy that was he was my idol and the guy that I looked up to. And I think that he always, when I was supposed to do the garage, I didn't do he didn't sweep the garage the right way. He'd make me go back and do it the right way. And so I think that, you take the easy way out. It's always easy to take the easy way out.
Right.
And I think the difference between the people that are real successful and aren't, know that you're going to have more tough times than you're going to have great times. And it's how you handle those tough times that allow you to be great in certain ways at certain times.
Right.
And so that's why it's not the easy way out. And, a lot of times it's like this. Things are great. And when things are great, you can't pat yourself on the back and realize that's going to equal out again. And so I think it's all about being consistent, being the same person that you are all the time, whether things are great or things are, not so great.
Let's say it's always better to do the harder right than the easier wrong.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So, when you look back on your career, you have had a fantastic career. I mean, all the wins, everything that you've had. I know we got something.
We got a slide up there on career stats.
But you look at everything this man has done, right? We go back to all of the wins you've had, from whether it was in college to whether it was in, you were drafted into the Yankees, right? You were drafted to my Baltimore Colts, by the way, which is a whole other story. Those guys. It's so funny. I was in Pennsylvania doing the show, and there's a guy in there with his license plate, Hate Elway. I'm like
H8 Elway.
I took a picture. You still got these guys that have, been die hard for years and years over what you've done. I mean, what out of all of this would you say it stands out for you?
Well, first of all, I think the most important thing is wins, right? And I don't think we haven't seen that on there. And I think that, winning, no matter what you do. It's winning is what it's all about. How you get there, and the words maybe that you win getting there. I was always one. The most important thing was I had given you every Pro Bowl that I ever played in, or any award like these. I had given those all back for world championships. And the thing is, the greatest thing about winning world championships is you do it so much as a team. Because football is about 11 guys on each side of the ball doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Now, you have great players on each side of the ball, but one guy cannot win a world championship. And I think that's the great thing about football is it's such a team sport. And everybody has to be going on the same direction, same page at all times. And if one guy makes a mistake, that can lose a football game for you in the NFL. Because in the NFL, everybody is good. The records don't look the same, but everybody's good, and everybody can beat everybody on a given day. But the key thing is in football, if you go back and you watch tape, you can watch 5 plays in every football game that will make a difference. They're not always necessarily at the fourth quarter, but there's mistakes that are made in the first and second quarter too. They can really they change the outcome. And so that's why it's such a concentrated game to where everybody and every play is so important. And you got to make sure that you're moving on to the next play. If you have a bad play behind you, you got to forget that and move on to the next one.
Move on. So, it's funny because you've gone on, obviously, and I remember I'd asked you once on, I forget what it was, a podcast or something. I said, you were in like 6 Super Bowls, and you go, no, Glenn. I was, you changed it, because I don't know, I said you'd lost so many and you changed it. But when you won that Super Bowl finally, what was really neat was win this for John, or was that the?
Yeah, our owner said that when he got the trophy.
Yeah, and it was really cool. But you had already gone through and you had fallen and fallen, and you made it to the highest spot, and here you are now winning the Super Bowl, right? Now, what's it like to get all the way there? I mean, we got a lot of us out here that we get to the prize and then we fall short, right? And then ultimate, you are doing this in front of the world, right? So is there a lot of, when you go home, do you kick the dog or you just shake it off?
You disappear,
Yeah.
right? But I think that, that's my favorite picture of my career right there, because that was my first Super Bowl win, and Super Bowl 32. But getting to that, we had lost 3 Super Bowls. And we lost in 1986, 87, and 89. And I always tell this story is we're playing the Giants in the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 22, I think it was 21. And we were up 10-9 at halftime. So we have first and goal on the 1. We're up 10-7. We have a chance to go, up 17-7. We got first and goal on the 1. And all we got to do is get it in the end zone. Now, our kicker made the longest field goal earlier in the game in Super Bowl history at that point in time. And so then we get first and goal on the 1, and the first play is quarterback roll right? Just it's a run option for me, run pass. But there's only one thing that we didn't cover and didn't have block, and that's Lawrence Taylor on the backside.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, I didn't like to play going in. So needless to say, after being first and goal on the 1, we were 2nd and 5 from the 5, because he came barreling down from the backside. We ended up missing the shortest field goal. So we go in at halftime 10-9 ahead, and then the second half, we end up losing that game 35-10. And so I always say we're in that game till halftime. The next year we played the Redskins in San Diego.
Oh, I remember it.
First play of the game, I threw a bomb to Ricky Nattil. We're up 7-0. We go up 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. And then 19 plays later, we were down 35.
Doug Williams. Oh, yeah.
So we skipped a year. So we're in that one till the end of the first quarter. And then the next year, we played San Francisco and New Orleans. And we were out of that one before we got off the bus. We got beat. And so then it was a long 7-year wait. We made playoffs, but never really had a chance to get back. Mike Shanahan came in 1995. We were 8-8 that year. 96, we were 13-3. And I'm in my 14th year now, thinking, okay, I can see that light at the end of the tunnel keeps getting bigger and bigger. That, I'm running out of years, and so we go 13-3. We had the Jacksonville Jaguars coming in, 2nd year of existence for them. And so we're thinking this is another shot after 7 years after being in the Super Bowls. and we ended up getting beat at home by Jacksonville, which was probably the most crushing loss, thinking that, you know, looking at the length of my career that I had left, that was the biggest disappointment. So then the next year we came back, and that's that year that we ended up beating the Packers in Super Bowl 32. And so the funny thing is, and we went in as a wild card, so we had to go, we played our first game at home, we had to go through Kansas City, and then we had to go to Pittsburgh. And so we're in Pittsburgh, we're after the game, and we won the game, and we had a 3rd and 8 we needed to pick up at the end of the game. We got that picked up, so go to the locker room, do everything. I get on the plane, and I call my mom. And I'm all, you know, fired up. I'm excited. We get to go back, and I call my mom. I said, "Can you believe it?" And it's a long silence on the other end of the call. I said, "Mom, you still there?" She goes, "Do we really have to go back to the Super Bowl?"
Exactly.
And so then we end up going in Super Bowl 32. We go into that game. We're 14-point underdogs to the Packers, and they were defending world champions, really a good football team, and we were able to run the football. Terrell Davis had a tremendous day, rushed for over 200 yards, and really had a great day. But lifting that trophy made everything I'd gone through in all football, everything I'd ever done was, you know, that feeling that it gave me, you know, everything was, at that time, was perfect.
Yeah.
And it was really worth it. It was worth
The
everything
whole, I
that
think
you
the whole
waited
country
for.
was proud for
Yeah.
you, you know, because you didn't give up. And I think that's the attitude that we all have to have in life, is when it's, you know, you think the odds are against you, and now you got your age against you, you got, how much longer can I do this thing, push through to get to that level? Because, I mean, it's one thing just to play in the NFL. It's another thing to achieve that ultimate goal of getting into the Super Bowl. And I've already lost 3 times now. What am I going to do?
You know, and I think we had that 7-year stretch there where we didn't go to the playoffs, right? So there's a lot of talk in that 7 years, right? So, but for me, I was always, when I used that as motivation, as soon as they tell me I wasn't going to do something, that's what I was going to do everything I can to prove them wrong.
Yep.
And I think that added incentive. Plus, you know, my goal when I started playing football, I wanted to be the best quarterback to ever play the game. And I knew the only way I could get even mentioned was we had to win a Super Bowl. And that's where, you know, as a quarterback in the NFL, that's kind of how you're measured. But is it fair or not? Maybe not, but ultimately, because he needs so much, everything has to be working together. You have to have a great coaching staff, you have to have great players, and everything has to come together. And as I said earlier about a team sport, that's why winning a world championship, where you know you're the best football team in the world is
It's funny you say
tremendous.
that.
So, I mean, you do say, like, you are definitely considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, I would say.
Well,
Would you not
But it's funny. I don't know
agree?
if you're going
I know,
there.
because
Are you
we
going
were
there?
in Washington, D.C., and there's a cab driver who believes this. And I don't know if any of you saw this video, but if you go online, go look up Sam Snow, John Elway. And it is the funniest. You can explain what happened. We were in D.C. trying to hail a cab, and a cop on a bicycle recognized it was John, and he was getting hounded. So he flagged down a taxi cab, kind of out in an area that it was kind of within the perimeter that they weren't supposed to, but because of John and the people.
Because there was a lot of people.
Trying to
trying
get
to
to
get in
him,
on him.
and so we put him in this cab, and this cab driver,
I get in the front seat, and the guy's got a Pittsburgh Steelers
like a
jacket
Letterman's
on,
jacket
hat
on,
on,
Super
everything.
Bowl
They
Steelers
don't know
hat.
John's in the back, right? And I go, quick, top 3 quarterbacks of all time. And I can't wait. He's going to, obviously, Terry Bradshaw. You know, he's going to talk of everything in Pittsburgh. And then you got John in the back, and I'm going to go, huh? And he goes, top 3. I got to say number 1's probably John Elway. I'm like, oh, John. It was great. And so we end up videoing.
the best part
it.
is he had no idea he was in the car with him. And so we started egging him on, saying, well, tell us about John. What's he like? Would you know him if you saw him? You know, what do you think what kind of a player is he? I mean,
And he'd go, one time I watched him get hit by this guy, hit him so hard, and Mindy turns to the camera, and John and go, ooh, that one hurt. And he would tell a play, and John would like be commenting on the play, and he did not know he was in there. Oh, it's such a wonderful video. If you
Yeah,
can
'cause
find the long video in.
At some
out
point,
there.
we did say, so would you recognize him if you saw him? And he's like, John Elway? Yeah, of course I'd recognize John Elway if I said. We said, well, turn around. He's
That
like,
was
what?
right after he
What?
said.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh my God! The ride is free. The ride is free. I just need a picture. Oh my God! The ride is free. I can't believe this. John. Oh no! John Elway is in my cab.
That was right before he
my
said
God, it was so
he's so he's so
so good, old guys
successful.
would get with
Even
him.
guys would do him. Remember he
Yeah,
said that? And John's going, no. That was such a funny day. But all right, we digress.
No, you gotta check it. It did go viral. It was on
Sorry.
every news outlet and
So
sports outlet. So
we had
that picture you just put up. Put that picture
yeah,
back up
because
again, will you?
now John, you're also the only human, right, ever to have won not only a Super Bowl as a player, but also as a general manager.
Woo!
Right? Yes. So again, this isn't luck, right? It's about putting together a winning team. It's about understanding how to work with what you've got, right? So explain a little bit about the mentality, because this is, I think, again, how we can, level up all of us.
Well, and I think that I was very fortunate in the fact that, I talked about the losing the 3 Super Bowls, so I had experienced, I think, and we had one year that we were 5-11. Other than that, I think we had maybe 200 seasons with a losing record, and so I definitely used what I had as a player, what I thought I saw that worked in winning championships. Now, my goal when I became the GM was to win world championships. We'd had a couple of losing years and things weren't going very well at all, and I think that it depends on what your expectations are or what your goals are when you do take a job. And my goal when I took over as a GM wasn't just to win football games or win the division and get in the playoffs, because I wasn't worried about surviving. I wanted to win a world championship again. And it's the same thing as a GM as I did as a player. And the thing I say all the time is, as a quarterback, you have all the control inside the lines. You get to touch the football every down. You make the plays, you're making the audibles, you're doing the different things. And so as a quarterback, there's not a better position to play, especially now in the NFL, because back when I played, they tried to kill us.
Yeah, a different world.
Today, it used to be an advantage to try to get the quarterback out of the game. Whereas today's game, they need the quarterbacks upright because the TV's so big that they need those guys playing. And so, back when I was playing, they could take 2 steps and do anything they wanted to do with us. They went pick us up, throw us around, spin us, frisbee us, do whatever, hit you low. In today's game, you can hit them from here to here, and you can't land on them anymore. And I get asked the question all the time is, who hit you the hardest? And I said, the ground. Because when those guys are on top of you and they land on you, and the ground, you can always give when they hit you, but when you hit that ground, it does not give. And so it's a matter of the ground is always the winner when it comes down to who hit me the hardest. But I think as a player, your quarterback, he had the control inside the line, and then as a GM, you have the control outside the lines, but you lose all the control inside the line. Yeah. And so I think that is the most frustrating thing about being a GM, having been a player. But then again, I was able to put together coaching staffs that I liked, that I knew won, and I'd seen win, and how they worked that, and how they did things. And then also the players that I liked, even though players are different now than when I was playing. But trying to mold that and put those things all together, and then ultimately you have to be a really good recruiter. Because we got Peyton Manning, and it made it a hell of a lot easier for us to win the championship when I was able. So ultimately, I was a good recruiter too. And you told him, got him sold on coming to Denver, and we were able to win a championship, which is as satisfying as anything, just different.
So with the championship comes a lot of cool rings and trophies and things. I think we have a picture of some of the rings.
This was some of your rings. Now, we were hunting, and I think it was your son and I were hunting, and I put on your rings, and then they were in your hunting.
They were in the safe.
The safe.
Yeah.
And then I think we've got Jack, your son, is that picture? Yeah, he found a couple more of the rings. Right? So they fit him a little better than they did me, by the way. But still, it's like, my goodness. Now, does any of those rings stand out?
Well, the Super Bowl 32, the first Super Bowl is the one that stands out. Now, obviously, the next year was just as great too. But I think that obviously, there's a Hall of Fame ring, and there's some other rings in there, and runner-up rings in there for winning the AFC. But I think that the one that means the most still is that first championship in Super Bowl 32 when we beat the the Packers because of the finally getting there, not thinking you're ever going to get there, being 14-point underdogs. That to me, that's I see that holding the trophy up, and it still gets me today, and that was almost 30 years ago. So
Yeah.
it's
That's neat.
the highlight.
Again, I'll never forget that. We had a, what I remember when I think about that is, he's laughing. We should not show John this, but
Oh, are you going to show?
People want to know, right? When you win a Super Bowl, what do you do, right?
How do
You're
you
out
celebrate?
and celebrate. What do these guys do? And when you're out there as a player, you see them in the bars and they're shaking the champagne. What do you do when you're the general manager? Why don't we show them what
Do
you
you have
do?
number 7? Can you throw
think
number
it's
7
now.
up?
Oh my God.
Oh, it's sideways.
So you bought No, go back out of this balcony now. Is there a party that when you hear about boys be
Okay.
Mindy right now.
All right.
Send this to Mindy.
He doesn't move.
Why is it turned up?
Okay.
It's on video, babe.
So
Oh my God.
Okay.
See what you're missing?
it's killing me.
now?
Stop.
It's okay. You can cut that.
You get a little older. This is how you celebrate.
Exactly. Stay in the room and wrestle on the bed.
Exactly.
And it's really
I love
funny
that you guys, there was no alcohol involved in that at
It
all.
wasn't.
this is really funny because I was with, as Glenn said, we were in Spain hunting for 4 or 5 days, and so about the second day we're there, I said, do you have any idea what we're talking about at your deal on Tuesday? He goes, oh yeah, we'll talk about it. And I asked a question about 4 more times. He was always kind of coy and all that stuff. So now I'm seeing exactly why you were a little
Well, I
coy
didn't
with
tell
everything.
you. Exactly.
one of my
We got to
favorites.
throw out a couple things that you might,
Now, what also is
Not
nice to
one.
point out, because he mentioned earlier, you see him there with friends and celebrating with people who mean something. These two are, when they became friends, it was a really nice relationship that I witnessed kind of blossom. Because the great thing about Glenn, I think for John, part of it is Glenn knows nothing about football. He's
I called
literally-
John. Hey, what are you doing? Dude, it's like the third quarter. We're down to. Oh, I'm sorry.
But what about John, what's is so beautiful, and I've seen him, treat fans, but his family is just, it's so number one for him. And, he puts his family first. And when he got his Hall of Fame induction into the Hall of Fame, it could have been anybody presenting the award to him, any notable sports figure, but he had his daughter present that award to him. And
My
that's
oldest
just an
daughter, yeah.
indication of your family. Talk a little bit about your family.
Well, I'm very fortunate. I got 4 beautiful kids. I've got 9 grandkids.
Yeah.
And so 5 girls and 4 boys. And they're great kids. And I say this all the time is you can take all the different things that you see and that I've done and talk about, but they're really my pride and joy because they're, the relation. And to me, the most important thing is the relationships with friends, but also the relationship with your kids. And so I'm very, very fortunate to have great kids, and they've, made me very, very proud. And I think that is, and I say this all the time, and we talk about stats, and I was lucky to get to play football. I was very lucky. And I always say this too, is the fact that I was good at it, right? But I respected somebody like Glenn, and I think that's why we probably connected as well as we connected, because of how good he was of what he does. And the respect that I have for him, and there's no kidding when you, and I know most of you know Glenn very well, but when you get to know him, you know his values, you know his morals and where he's coming from, and then what he's been through. If I could put that brain and that will and that toughness in half of my football team, we'd win world championships every year just because of that.
Thanks, man.
And I mean that.
I have the very same amount of admiration for you because there's a lot of people. I just thought of one that I won't mention his name, but that when you get in anything that we do, right? We start making money. We start maybe getting our head a little too big. You start thinking that maybe we deserve this and other people are a little lower than us. No one is lower than anyone, and you do not treat people like that. And that grabbed me to you. I've gotten to be very close and knew a lot of people that have had great big star power and didn't find some of them to be that kind.
And I think, well, I mean, I guess my philosophy is the fact that I love playing football. I was good at it. The only difference between me and you or everybody in this room that's great at what they do, whether you're the best garbage man or the best carpenter or the best mortgage, but whatever you do, the only difference between you and I is the fact that I was on TV. And so all that does is just break that. I was good at what I did. And that's why everybody else is good at what they do. That's the only difference. And so that's why I've never looked at myself any differently than anybody else. And the fact is, and I go back and say the same thing again, is the most important thing to me in life is, sure, you want to be successful, you want to provide for your family, and you want to be good at what you do. But the thing about life that's the most important thing about life is about relationships. Because ultimately, that's all you have when you leave this earth. Is the relationships that you create, the work that you've done, how you treat other people. And to me, those are the most important things. And so it's very easy, as I said, to believe that I'm not any more special than anybody else that's good at what they do. It just happened that what I did was on TV.
All right, I got to tell
Well, we're
this one
going
story.
for the Mortgage Super Bowl right here.
There we go.
This
I
team
like it.
is the winning team.
We got the team.
I like it.
And we
We're
got to
on the
be,
field.
we're going for it.
So I'm going to say it. I wasn't going to, but I will anyway.
Uh-oh.
So we were on the back of our boat one time, and we were sitting there having some conversation, and Prince Albert called my captain. And he said, hey, I really want to meet John Elway. Would you like to do that?
Now, this is Prince Albert of Monaco, who is a big fan of American sports because his mother was Grace Kelly.
So we were in the middle of our conversation, and I said, hey, John, Prince Albert wants to meet you.
We were having a great time, by the way. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
we were
just
having
talking
a
about
wonderful
we're having
time
a
back
great
there. And
time.
he goes, you know what? I'm really having a great time with you guys right now. Give us a little bit, right? And so we continued that conversation, right? And we did that for a while. I think your exact words were, I don't care about Princey Pooh. I care about you guys. But maybe I have it wrong, but it's something to the effect of, I care about you guys in this conversation right now. And you weren't being mean to him, but it was like, let's finish this. So we finished that. I said, yeah, it's probably a good time to go up. And by that time, Albert had gone because he didn't wait for anybody, right? And so about a couple months later, you call me back and you go, hey, Prince Albert just invited me to the Ryder Cup, right? The Ryder Cup in Monaco. And he wants me to go. And I said, I have one condition, and that is that my caddy go. So cool. He goes, you're my caddy. I'm like, cool, I'm in it, man. You want me to be your caddy, John? I'll go.
He doesn't even play golf.
And this, I'm out there working, man. So what is, again, why when you excel, you can't just excel in loan business or in sports. It's got to be in life, right? This is not transactional. This is a relationship business, right? So this is exactly, now for me, Prince Albert called me. I am going to be there at his thing. He calls me back. I happen to be going through my cancer. Hey, canceling Prince Albert. What do you mean you're canceling Prince Albert? If my caddy can't go, I'm not going. That's this man right here. Yeah. That's, in all things, John, what I am most proud of our relationship about, okay? He canceled. I go, no, we're going, okay? I go, you're going, and I'm going. He goes, you can't go. You're on morphine. You're in bed. I go, no, I'm not letting you cancel. We're going.
He went.
So we went. I lost his putter head. I lost
His rangefinder.
rangefinder. The worst caddy ever, man. But we went.
We went.
And,
We did.
But we did it,
Absolutely.
and I absolutely appreciated the fact that we did that. Now, you have been in some extremely visible and probably the best or most well-known plays in football. Okay, so we got
Oh, we need to show these. These
we
are
have
so
3
good.
of them. Those people make it all the way to the NFL. Almost none of them, right? And then how do you get involved in like the biggest plays in NFL? And you have 3 of them. So that's insane.
Well, one of them's not the NFL.
Well, yeah, I know, in football.
Look at it.
So let's roll the first one if you've
And
got
this
it.
is at Stanford, right?
This is the last game of my senior year. This is the drive.
This is fun.
This is the drive.
Okay, so we got this backwards, but
Yeah.
Oh, this is the drive? Oh, this isn't Stanford.
This is the drive.
Oh, yeah, this is an NFL. And you
This was just to kind of.
talk us
We
through.
were down 20-13, and we're in Cleveland. It's 2013. We got 5 minutes to go. They kick off to us. We end up getting the ball on the 2-yard line. And I'll never forget. We're standing in a huddle. We're in Cleveland. It's blowing. It's cold. Wind chill's about 10, and we're standing in the TV timeout, and we're waiting in the huddle. We had 1st and goal on the 2, and it was really one of those. Going through the mindset, and I think a lot of times you talk about kind of where the world gets sometimes, right? Where we are today in this world, where you are in the mortgage business, right? All of a sudden it's, you start trying to say, how are we going to get out of this thing now? How are we going to get out of this thing
you
now?
mean you're on their 2?
We're on our own 2.
Yeah,
you
you got
gotta
98 to
we got to
go.
go
You gotta go
98, right?
100
And so I
98
think,
yards.
and I think that kind of ties into what we were talking about, and kind of way the world is, especially where the mortgage business is now. In that situation, we couldn't think about the end, right? And I always think the word I hate the most is the word choke. I hate that word because people use it and throw it around too much. But to me, the definition of choking is thinking about the outcome before it happens. So that's the idea. So never think about the outcome, and don't think about, what you need to do. You got to be thinking about how you're going to get it done, not the end result.
Yep.
And I think that when you look at that drive, and I know we played a couple plays, but we had 5 minutes to go, but all we really thought about was getting 1 first down. Getting 1 first down. Once we got 1 first down, then it was getting 2 first downs. Obviously, we had to work with the clock. We had plenty of timeouts. And so, but that, that drive right there was one that it's kind of tells you the same thing in life is, right? Don't get ahead of yourself and take it one play at a time and figure out the solutions, because there's a bunch of little things that have to happen before you get things fixed.
How do you eat an elephant?
And so that's why it was, and the thing is, we were in Cleveland, and the farther we got out, because it was loud, and then we kept getting louder and farther out, it kept getting quieter and quieter and quieter. And the thing about that is, we scored the touchdown, and then we had to go to overtime. So we ended up winning in overtime. But that was kind of, that game put me on the board. But that's kind of a microcosm of kind of what you're talking about, where the world is today, and how you react to that world, and how to figure out where things are, what's going to happen 6 months ago. You don't know that.
Right.
But what you can do is take the steps, and for us, it was getting first downs to give us a chance to win in the end.
So
One down at a time.
A lot of us, a lot of us think it's insurmountable what we have to do, right? You've got to go 98 yards. To your point, if we can just say, well, what do I got to do next?
Right.
Forget, that's all of my focus is going to be on is next.
Is what's next, and how do we get this thing going? How do we get some momentum? How do we give ourselves a chance? Because it's not going to happen like that. Even though in today's world, how many things happen like that with phones and da-da-da-da. Gratification right now, and so in that situation, and really in life, again, we talk about it, it's about one step at a time, and how do you keep giving yourself and moving forward and gaining that momentum to give yourself a chance to be successful in the end.
That's right. So let's
Do
see.
we have the Stanford band? Do you have the Stanford band video? I love this one because I think the announcer is white. Oh no, it's sideways. Oh, it can't be switched.
That's all right. You guys are good.
Watch. Just listen to the announcer.
I'm still mad at this trombone player for not making the tackle.
Oh, we missed most of it.
So explain this
Never
again.
mind.
You guys, do you remember this play? I don't know. Yeah, crazy play.
It comes around every Thanksgiving.
Yeah. This one you don't like talking
Well, there
about.
was 4 seconds to go. We'd actually put a really good drive together. We had picked up a 4th and 17 from our own 13. We're down 20-19. And, or no. Let's see, we went up. Yeah. Anyway, so we ended up putting a good drive together. We score. We think we got it. We're 6-5 now. Get to go to I think we get to go to a bowl game. And then so we onside kick it or kind of just squib it. And then that play ends up coming out of it. And so we end up losing 20. We're ahead 20-19. We end up losing 25-20. And was it? Yeah, a disappointing end to my college career. But
But you
one of
did
those
your
things.
job.
Yeah. That still doesn't count, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I
Sometimes.
mean, I
Well,
think
that's
it's
the
still
thing.
about
Exactly.
one of those things. But I think it's we can laugh about it now and it wasn't a whole lot of fun.
Some of us.
Things are always
Yeah.
funnier
Some of
when
us
they're
can
way
laugh about
behind
it.
us, right?
So
Yeah.
let's
Got
play the
a
third.
couple more things here I want to show.
No, but let's show the third.
Do you have the other one? Is that one? This is one of your famous.
A gain of 8. He wanted that first
What?
down.
And I tell you
I
what,
was
if you want to
excited.
tell me the 37-year-old man doesn't want to win this game, that sacrifice, oh man.
That is
Greatest
called
8-yard
the
run
helicopter.
in Super Bowl history by John Elway.
He was sideways, got hit so hard. That's a very that image of you horizontally became an iconic photo. It was taken by
Yeah.
many sports photographers, and they labeled it the helicopter.
I'll tell you a great story about that play. And it's funny how things happen in life, right? So that play, we had a play that was, because it was 3rd and 6. People thought that I scored a touchdown. It was 3rd and 6. And so this play comes in. And all during the week, Mike kept saying, and I didn't like the play coming in. I didn't like the play. I said, Mike, I really don't like it. He says, John, it's going to be there. I promise you it's going to be there. And I said, and if both corners had to be bumped, and so it was all set up. And I said, what if they don't play the same defense that they've been playing? Because I didn't like it against the defense. He goes, John, it is 100% of the time they'll be in this coverage against this formation in this situation.
That's
It's
confidence.
100%. I'm like, all right, well, so it's 3rd and 6. In comes the play. And sure enough, I go to the line of scrimmage, and they're not in that defense. Right?
That's our
They're
life.
not in that
That's
defense. So I'm
life.
like, all right, well, I gotta figure out how to make something happen here. And so I said, all right, I'm gonna get outside and let guys move around. Hopefully they can find a hole and I can get it to them in a hole somewhere. And I got out there and I looked at the first down mark and I'm like, oh boy, that's a long way. I'm 37 years old. And so they stayed back, so I said, all right, I'm going to turn it up. So I just turned it up, and I put the old 6-inch vertical on him and went right over the top. But it's funny how, that's a play that I'm known for, but the situation behind it and how things come together.
Well, again, I don't think it's not that it was the most beautiful play, right? I mean,
Right.
but it was the fact that you were so determined,
Yeah.
right? And what it did is it shifted everybody else that was there, said, if that man will do it, and that's what we all need to do, right, is lead by example.
Right.
That was your leading by example right there to the whole world. I don't care what I need to do to win this.
And it was that, right. And you were there, and I'll still remember when I stood up, and it did hurt my ribs a little bit, and I looked to our sideline, and our whole sideline was going crazy. And it was at that point in time I said, I think we're going to win this football game. And obviously we ended up winning it late, but it was, that play kind of really gave us the momentum and got us going.
Yeah. I'll talk about another thing with the Super Bowl, but I like the next picture that we have because, again, to me, it represents our friendship, right? Someone had made this bronze for you, and he said to me, you know what? I got another one made. And so this one sits in my office, which, I really,
It's a helicopter.
that's if I'm having my house burned down, I'm taking that bronze.
Well, that won't burn, so it'll
Yeah,
still be
let's
there.
shoot
Yeah,
us
it'll be
and take
fine.
that. I'll leave it. You're right. Good point.
You couldn't carry it anyway, honey.
Exactly.
It's really heavy. We could do it together.
Back, no more high heels. Back to these kind of shoes. So now let's go back to the Super Bowl again because I think here you are. You've won the Super Bowl, and now you go up against. You're playing in the next year. Who would think it? But here you are back again, to play the Atlanta Falcons, right? And explain a little bit behind that maybe people wouldn't understand what's going on.
Well, after we beat the Packers in Super Bowl 32, we had a really good team in 1998. We actually were much better in 98 than we were in 97. We won our first 13 games in a row, and we went to New York and got beat on a Hail Mary late in the game. We go 13-1. We end up wrapping it up. So we first round of the playoffs, we win. So we go back to the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl was in Miami. And sure enough, and there was a coach my first 10 years that I didn't get along with really well. His name was Dan Reeves. And even though we had a lot of success together, we didn't really see eye to eye on a lot of different things at times. And so, but sure enough, we get there, and I kind of contemplated retirement after the 97, but I talked to my dad. He says, you can still play, because a lot of times as an athlete, you're the last one to know you can't play. You're the last guy, and that's why it was great to have a dad, because I said, Dad, you're going to have to tell me when I can't do it anymore. Otherwise, I'm going to keep trying to do it. He said, no, you know, and so went into 98, really good football team, get back to Super Bowl, and sure enough, we're playing the Atlanta Falcons in Super Bowl 33.
Who? Dan Reeves.
With Dan Reeves is now their head coach. And so, and Mike Shanahan is our head coach, and he really didn't get along with Dan very well either. So it was one of those games you just go, wow, can't believe another situation like this happened. And I will say this, though, it was one of the most enjoyable games I ever played, because it was the first time we were 13-point underdog, or 13-point favorites. So it was the first time I'd been in a Super Bowl where we were favored, and we knew if we just play like we're capable of, all we have to worry about them. We got to worry about what we can do, play like we're capable of, we'll win this football game. But the other thing that I was worried about, too, is when I was younger in my career, I could throw a wet football. But the older I got, because I was a guy that kind of strangled the football, and the older I got, the harder it was for me to throw a wet football. And so the whole week, I'm down there in my room, and I watched the Weather Channel the whole week. That's all I watched. My biggest nightmare was trying to play a Super Bowl in rain. And it was 50-50 the whole week. It was, 50% chance of holding out. I was like, oh, boy. So we get there knowing that if we can just, because we knew, I had Terrell Davis behind me, and we knew that they were going to say, Terrell Davis is not going to beat us, right? And so we knew we were going to have to throw the football. They were going to stop Terrell no matter what. And so with the rain, and then we spread things out, had a great game plan. We get to the game. We end up playing like we're capable of. We go up 31-0. I think we end up winning the game 31-14 or something, 17, something like that. But 30 minutes after the game was over, the skies opened up. I mean, just poured rain. And that was when I knew God's telling me, it's time for you to retire.
I can't give you much more.
Dude, you can't see this.
And next time I'm going to put a bolt down in your ass. Exactly. That's again, we've sat and done a lot of finals, and I heard that story, and it's always been one of my favorite stories, because it's about life. Here you are now, you get to go up against your nemesis. You get to say, let's see now who was
right and who was wrong,
who was right and who was wrong. Exactly. But no, I love that story. So, we're out here. We were sitting in the world of milk and honey. We had loans falling out of the sky, and then they dried up, right? You had this great career, and all of a sudden, your career is gone after that. Okay, very similar. What are we going to do now? What did you do next? You went on to become a great businessman. We've got a couple pictures of you
Got
up
a
there.
picture of your next venture, which you ventured into,
That's
John's
right.
house.
That's right. So John playing into the car arena, among other things. You also went into the arena
restaurant.
football, restaurants. Talk a little bit about your business and about pivoting, because that's what we're all trying to do right now.
Well, really what happened is in 1991, which was my 8th year in the league, and I knew that my career of football, because football obviously has usually the quickest careers, and I was going to be a young man when I retired. And so when I was still playing, I was looking for a business that I was going to get into. And our owner had bought a piece of a Jeep store and asked me if I could come in and do the marketing, commercials. I said, sure, I'd love to, and then learn a business. And so I did that in 1989, and then 1991, my 8th year, is when I said, I got to have something to do when I get done. So I tried to start it early. I started it early in my 8th year, and I ended up buying 6 dealerships by the time I retired in 1998. And so really enjoyed it. I love the fact, I love the competitive nature of the car business, how many cars you sell today, and the competitive nature of that. And so that was important. And so I had a grand plan to do that. That's what I was going to do. Well, 1998, Auto Nation, as you can see here, and Wayne Huizinga comes in and offers me way too much money, and I sell them to him. And now I'm like, this is the place I was trying to avoid, is not getting involved in it, not being, what am I going to do next? But then had a chance to get into arena football. And I don't know if anybody remembers arena football. It's really not around anymore. But I really used that and wanted to get into football because eventually I wanted to get back into football. I didn't want to coach. My dad was a football coach. I knew how much time it took. And I wasn't interested in spending all that time because as a coach, the hours that are spent and the time they spend with the players is a lot, and I wasn't willing to do that, but wanted to get back into management. The Arena Football League was my MBA into getting back and having the opportunity to be the GM of the Broncos. Then we sold it, and then I sold those dealerships, but then eventually got back. We had a non-compete for 5 years, got back with, now we've got 6 deals now, six dealerships now, and I've got like 4 restaurants, and stay busy with that. We've got some power sports stores, and so I think it's important to stay busy, keep your mind fresh, but it's really nice to have some free time and be able to do some of the things I've never been able to do because for most of my life, once you get into August and go through January, it was all football, and never had any time to really do anything. So that's why it's nice to be here with you today, knowing that
it is football
had the
season.
time. And I was over in Europe and didn't watch a football game for 3 weeks, and actually, I didn't miss it.
Yeah.
You've just been such a great part of our life experience, and we've just so enjoyed just the journey that we've been on together. And I know you talked about you and Dan Reeves don't exactly see eye to eye, but you and Glenn don't exactly see eye to eye when you're standing up, that is, because
She calls us twins.
we call them twins, like Arnold and Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, because these two get together.
Have you noticed the theme today, folks? No respect. Whether it's Grant
So much-
Cardone
but this,
or my wife.
This is what happens when I see Glenn and 2 tall men. I love to take a picture. Here he is between John and Peyton Manning. I think we have another one of Glenn between 2 tall trees. Every time I can find it, there he is between him and Tony Romo. I have a whole album full. It's actually really fun.
Should we talk about that picture?
Maybe. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The last story.
We were
last
back
story.
in Washington, and what was it? Was it the inauguration?
Yeah, I think it was inauguration.
We're in Washington.
We're at the inauguration, and Tony's there, and so we walk in this place, and Kevin McCarthy was there, So we're walking back, and I was still the GM with the Broncos, and Tony was a free agent, and I saw him over there, and I knew I couldn't get close to him because him as a free agency had not opened. This was probably January, I think. Free agency opens in March, and I'm like, I cannot get close to Tony because they're going to get me for tampering if he's a free agent. So, we walk by, we say hi, we snap that picture
Then
real
Mama
quick.
Rossi's like,
she
"Oh,
snapped, and
oh,
Mindy
good
says,
picture."
"Can I take this picture real quick?" I said, "Yeah, just take it." So we take the picture. I said, "You can't post that. You can't post that. You can't post that picture."
I'm like, I promise, I won't.
So now.
So was it the same time that video of the cab driver had been put on Glenn's Facebook page?
we snipped the video of the cab driver, and I was going to put it on my Facebook page. I had 500 friends, not a big deal.
You had like 5,000.
Whatever the number was, but very little. And I also put pictures of the day, right? 10 or 15 pictures of the day. So We then left at midnight, she and I did, and we flew to Vietnam because we were on our trip around the world with the family. We had come back. We did our fun little event back in D.C.
So anyway.
And what I didn't realize is when I got off the plane, my phone was going, brrrr. It was like so much. And then this picture comes up, and it's my buddy who was the...
Well, your buddy sends a text, and he says, Glenn, of course, you would be in the middle of the biggest NFL controversy in the country.
I'm like, what is this?
And we're
What are
like,
you
how
talking
does
about?
the cab driver video, how is that controversial? And then the picture shows up from your friend into your text. And I'm like, how did he get that photo? Because I only gave it to you.
So, I didn't know 5 million people literally would see the cab video of John because it went viral in overnight. And we had ABC, NBC,
Sports
Today
Center,
Show
ESPN,
wanting that video. Well, when 5 million people go onto your Facebook, they happen to also look at your pictures. So I wish I had. We don't have it. But I have this great, stop me and I'll show it to you.
Google
my phone.
search.
It's the Google search. John Elway and Tony Romo, looks like done deal. John Elway spotted with Tony Romo. I mean, on and on and on.
It
It
was
just went
every
forever.
single
But I
sport
love the
outlet.
one that said, Glenn Stearns makes things happen. John Elway makes things happen.
Hold on, slow down. Let him read.
Is it on
The
there?
rest of it, it said Glenn Stearns makes things happen. John Elway makes things happen. Tony Romo needs their help.
So she is crying. Well, I've just,
like,
what did you
I
do?
told him I wouldn't post it.
Anyway,
But you did.
thank you for forgiving me on that one.
Thank you for forgiving us for that
Yeah.
snafu. It turned out okay.
Nothing came of it. No.
Now he's a sportscaster now.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. But,
So-
but again, our, my love for you is because you're genuine, you're real, you care about people, and we called our company Kind on purpose, you guys, definitely, no jokes aside. And while kind to us might mean making fun and having a couple laughs, right? We need that. It's hard. So we have to find other people that we want to be around. You can be with your basement friends, or you can be with your balcony friends, okay? The people that lift you up. You are my balcony friend, okay?
Well, thank you.
I really appreciate you. I love you. I do, man. I love you. And I'm proud of you for being here. Thank you.
And you surround yourself with winners, and Kind is a winner, so you are in good company. So
That's
thank
right.
you all. Thank
right.
you.
So let's go upstairs.
Wait, hold on. So before we go, I'm gonna test your arm out and see how it goes. We got a couple of these T-shirts I was wearing. So who wants to get a T-shirt from John Elway?
Wait,
Here we go. Here we go.
They don't
don't
they
fall
don't spin
out.
as well.
Oh!